according to a theorem that the mean of the sampling distribution of the sample mean is equal to the population mean. And that is true. The formula for sample mean and population mean is just the same. That is the summation of the observations divided by the total number of observations. The formulas for the variance and standard deviation of a sampling distribution of the sample mean are as follows. We have S squared, that is equal to sigma squared over N. And for the standard deviation, we have S is equal to sigma all over square root of N. This theorem is called the central limit theorem. Let us have this example. Find the sample variance and sample standard deviation of a population given the sigma for the standard deviation, which is equal to 5, and n is equal to 10. Here, for the solution for the sample variance, we have the formula s squared is equal to sigma squared over n. To evaluate given the values, we have s squared is equal to 5 as the value of sigma and then exponent 2 all over 10. Using your calculator, 5 squared is equal to 25 divided by 10, s squared is equal to 2.5. For the sample standard deviation, we have here s is equal to sigma over square root of n. Using the values, we have s is equal to 5 all over square root of 10. Using your calculator, 5 divided by square root of 10, that is equal to s is 1.58. According also to the central limit theorem, if the standard deviation is used as an estimator of population parameter instead of the mean, then the standard error SE is the same with the formula in computing for the standard deviation in the previous slide. That is the sigma over the square root of n. In the transformation of the z-score, considering the standard error, that would be from the z-score that is equal to the sample mean minus population mean all over sigma, that would become z is equal to sample mean minus population mean all over the quotient of sigma divided by the square root of n. This means that the sampling distribution of the sample mean is approximately normally distributed with mean from which the samples are drawn. Example number 1. Shinwa Company claims that the life of their battery products is approximately normally distributed with a mean length of 8 hours of battery life when used in DC motors with a standard deviation of 3.8 hours. What is the probability that a sample of 10 batteries will have a mean lifespan of at most 6 hours in DC motors? So the first step is to answer the question, what is asked? In the problem, that is, what is the probability that a sample of 10 batteries will have a mean lifespan of at most 6 hours in DC motors? The next step is to identify the given in the problem. The first is the population mean. In the problem, that is located in the first sentence. That is 8 hours of battery life. The standard deviation is 3.8 hours. And the sample size, which is in the question part, we have here all in all 10 batteries. And we have the second mean, which is the sample mean specifically, that is on the question part also, and that is equal to 6. As you can see in this problem, we will be having two mean. The first mean is for the population and the second mean is for the sample. Basta palagi niyong tatandaan na yung sample mean at yung sample size ay nasa question part. Dito, ang batteries ay the sample size, we have all in all 10 batteries, and the sample mean is we have in hours, which is 6. Using the formula, we will be having here z is equal to 6 minus 8 all over 3.8 divided by square root of 10. Using your scientific calculator, that would be equal to negative 1.66. Always remember that the z-score should be rounded off to 2 decimal places so that you can use correctly the standard normal table.
In computing for the z-score in example number 1, applying the formula, kung makikita mo, yung formula ay naka-fraction form. So, yung una mong gagawin ay click mo itong key na fraction. Next is to note the numerator. Ang numerator mo ay 6 minus 8. And then, you press this down button. Yung nasa denominator naman ng 6 minus 8 ay fraction pa din. So, pipindutin mo ulit itong key na ito for fraction. At yung nasa baba ng 6 minus 8 ay 3.8. 3.8. And then, again, you press the down button. Yung nasa baba ay square root of 10. You press this key, square root of 10. And then, you press equal sign. Ang makikita mo ay naka-fraction form. So, para maging decimal form siya, you press this key. And then, round off to 2 decimal places, we will have here negative 1.66.
In the problem, you have to take note that in the what is asked part of the problem, ang nakalagay doon is at most 6 hours. Para malaman natin kung saan yung shaded region ng normal curve, we have to take note of this keyword, that is at most. When we say at most, meaning maximum na daw yung 6 hours. Yung 6 hours na convert na natin into z-score and that is negative 1.66. So therefore, if we're going to draw a normal curve, that would be like this, from negative 1.66 to the left side of it. Yung negative 1.66, siya na yung pinaka mataas or siya na yung maximum na z-score. So yung shaded region ay nasa left side ng negative 1.66, which is less than na yung mga scores to the left side. So here, since ang tinatanong, the probability, so we will be using the standard normal table. So we're going to get the probability of z less than negative 1.66. To get the shaded region drawn in the normal curve, we have to get first the probability of negative 1.66 or from negative 1.66 up to the mean, which can be found directly from the standard normal table. So that is 0.4515. The intersection of 1.6 and 0.06. So now, remember that the half of normal curve is 0.5 or 0.5000. So para makuha natin yung shaded region ng normal curve and yung shaded region ay nasa kalahati lang naman ng normal curve, so itong 0.5 ay babawasan natin nung shaded region. Yung shaded region, and that is, or unshaded region, unshaded region from negative 1.66 to 0, and that is 0.4515. So, we're going to get the difference of that to get the area of the shaded region. That is equal to 0.0485. Therefore, the probability that a sample of 10 batteries will have a mean lifespan of at most 6 hours in DC motors is 4.85%. 4.85%, that is the probability. Example number 2. The average product of all the machines in a fabrication is 15 finished materials in 1 hour with a standard deviation of 3 materials per hour. What is the probability that a sample of 5 machines will produce at least 17 materials per hour? So what is asked in this problem? That is, what is the probability that a sample of 5 machines will produce at least 17 materials per hour? Next step is to identify the given in the problem. We have to take note the population mean, the standard deviation, the sample size, and also the sample mean. Again, as I've said earlier in example number 1, that there are two mean in the problem, but the first average or yung unang sinabing mean, yan yung population mean. So here, ang population mean natin ay 15 at ang standard deviation naman ay 3. Sa question part na, dyan mo na makikita yung sample size and also yung sample mean. So here, yung sample size mo ay yung machines, that is 5, and yung sample mean mo, dapat uniform dun sa population mean. Yung population mean mo is the finished materials in 1 hour. So, yung sample mean mo dapat is the materials in 1 hour finished. So, yung sample mean dito ay 17. Using the formula and substituting given the values, we have 17 minus 15 divided by 3 over square root of 5. So, in your calculator, that is equal to 1.49.
If you have this type of calculator, just follow me. In computing for the z-score in example number 2, we have in the numerator 17 minus 15. You can do the mental math in getting the difference of 17 and 15, and that is 2. So in this calculator, press 2 in the numerator. Next, divided by the denominator. The denominator in example number 2 is 3 over square root of 5. So, since ang denominator is 3 over square root of 5, you have to use the open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Meaning, yung 2, dinidivide mo dun sa quotient ng 3 over square root of 5. So, press in your calculator 3 divided by square root of 5 and then close parenthesis. And then, equal sign. The answer or the z-score is 1.49.
In the problem, our keyword is at least 17 materials per hour. When we say at least, minimum na yung 17 materials. At yung 17 materials, na-convert na natin into 1.49 as our z-score. So to draw that in a normal curve, that starts from 1.49 to the right side of the curve. So the shaded region here is the region that you're going to identify or you're going to get the probability. So again, from 1.49 to the right, since ang meaning ng at least ay minimum lang daw yung 1.49. So to the right yung shaded region. So here, you're going to get the probability of z greater than 1.49. That is the shaded area. Yan yung symbol. To get that, we're going to get first the probability from 0 hanggang 1.49 that can be found in the standard normal table. So the intersection of 1.4 and 0.09 is 0.4319. So here, to get the probability of z greater than 1.49, the half of a normal curve is 0.5. Since na yung shaded region ay nasa kalahati lang naman, ito yung shaded region, nasa kalahating part ng normal curve. So, we will be using 0.5. Yung area na nakuha natin from 0 to 1.49, yan yung ibabawas dun sa 0.5 para makuha natin itong shaded region. So, yung ginamit natin ditong operation ay subtraction. Meaning, yung probability ng Z greater than 1.49 or yung shaded region ay equal sa 0.0681. Therefore, the probability that a sample of 5 machines will produce at least 17 materials per hour is 6.81%. Example number 3. The average amount of calories from a hamburger served in a restaurant is 220 per order with a standard deviation of 30 calories. What is the probability that the mean calories from 20 orders is between 200 and 240 calories? So first step is to determine what is asked. In the problem, that is, what is the probability that the mean calories from 20 orders is between 200 and 240 calories? Next is to identify the given. Here we have the population mean, we have 220. For the standard deviation, we have 30 calories. For the sample size, we have 20 as as the orders. And for the sample mean, there are two. We have 200 calories and 240 calories. Ulitin ko lang, yung sample size at yung sample mean ay makikita sa question part na. So, given the formula, we're going to evaluate given the sample mean 200 and 240. Yung unang Z, kasi dalawa yung sample mean natin, so dalawa din yung Z-score na pwede nating i-compute. So we have here the first sample mean is 200, which is being computed. So 200 minus 220, which is the population mean, all over 30 divided by square root of 20. Using your scientific calculator, that is negative 2.98. The second sample mean is 240. So using the formula, we have 240 minus 220 divided by 30 over square root of 20. Using your scientific calculator, that is positive 2.98. So here, dalawa yung z-scores given the sample mean. The first z-score is negative 2.98. And then the second z-score is positive 2.98. So here, since na yung given sa unknown between 200 and 240 calories daw, so ibig sabihin yung shaded region sa normal curve is from, kasi yung 200 na convert na natin into negative 2.98 using the formula, and yung 240 calories, ang z-score na katumbas niya sa normal curve ay positive 2.98. So from this part up to this part on the positive side of the normal curve. So we're going to get the probability from negative 2.98 to positive 2.98. And to get that, first, you have to get the probability from negative 2.98 to 0 and the probability from 0 to 2.98. To get the probability of 2.98 in the standard normal table to 0, that would be 0.4986. That is the intersection of 2.9 and 0.08. So parehas lang yung area dito since na yung number naman is pareho, which is 2.98. Just omit first the negative sign. Take note yung symbol, simula tayo sa negative to 0. And kapag 0 naman yung nauna, that would be to positive number, which is greater than 0. In here, to compute for the probability from negative 2.98 to positive 2.98, yung nakuha natin na probability ng negative 2.98 to 0, that is 0.4986. At yung probability naman from 0 to 2.98, that is the same, that is 0.4986. Since na makikita naman obvious na yung shaded region sa normal curve ay napakalaki na na-cover niya na halos yung normal curve. So all you have to do is to add. That would be the probability from negative 2.98 to positive 2.98, that is 0.9972. Therefore, the probability that the mean calories from 20 orders is between 200 and 240 calories is 99.72%.